That's right. It's Monday night. Sports on the Hill podcast, True Radio Network, episode 257. Another great night to be on the air with. We already see you got Robbie G, you got Anna K already in the building. We got the Caps game live looking, and it's second intermission right now. The Caps are down 1-0. Get ready to go into the third. We saw the video before the show started with Ovi doing his thing, leading the league in goals and points. It's amazing what this guy is doing at this stage of his career. And we're going to talk some football a little bit later on. And we're going to talk Wizards at the end because I definitely have some questions for the roundtable to see what's going on with this team right now. But Robbie G, how are you doing tonight, man?
Double
And
muted, like always, like always.
yeah,
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I was just chatting with my Twitch chat. We're live on Twitch. We're live on Facebook, and on Carol's channel and on YouTube. We're live all over the place. So I wish this game was going better. We're on the power play. We're just coming back into the third period right now. Minute 30 left in the power play. We're down 1-0. Just basically one big mistake. We've had a 5-on-3 that we didn't convert on, but we had opportunities. So it's been a rough game, but I'm hoping we can find a way here. Unfortunately, now they have a shorthanded chance here that we're trying to stave off. But overall, I mean, it's a good week for the Capitals. So that's exciting with the 2-1. There's a lot of great football that I know we'll get into, and also basketball was played. Whether it was played well by the Wizards, we'll have to discuss the 0-3 week with them. We have a roundtable with guys who watched all three games very closely, and they'll help me break it down at the end of the show. But I'm so excited that we have the return of Anna here. So Anna,
Aw.
welcome back. How are you doing? And it's been a little bit, but I'm super happy to have you back.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back. Yeah, I took a little reprieve there, ready to put on those 2022 vibes for some hockey. And how about those Niners?
Yeah, I definitely, as we go into our football talk segment, which will be the second segment tonight, we'll get your thoughts on the 49ers. I became a big 49ers fan for you last week. I really wanted to see them, get to the conference championship game. Hopefully they win the next game, but even just getting to the conference championship game
Yeah.
from where they were in the standings is an impressive feat. So it's a win of a season in my book. It's much farther than Washington or any NFC East team was able to make it. So,
Yeah, no, it was exciting. It was like I think I said on Facebook, this sports nerd here had a really fun weekend of between great hockey and football and the weekend. It was a 4-day weekend for some of us teachers who were able to get our grades in early and enjoy the time off. So
that's
yeah, so it's great to see you guys. It's nice to be back.
yeah, no, it's great to have you. No, that's excellent. Yeah, I'm super happy that you got the long weekend and two comebacks. So we'll talk about the Capitals one here, but like both games were crazy. I mean, all four NFL games were crazy, but
But
let's
isn't that
get
exactly what you want, though? I
yeah,
mean,
I think I'll ask
it's
Carol this
great.
at the top. I know we start with hockey talk, but Carol, is that the best divisional round of hockey or football you've ever seen? Like, for me, all four games, like they hit on all four of them in my book.
Yeah.
So
definitely. They all four were very entertaining. This new format that they implemented this year with the extra week in the season, extra playoff team, and the first seed only team that gets the bye week. There's definitely some exciting football. Definitely want to talk about it more. But yeah, I was 3 out of 4 this week. I was thought the Bills had it. Uh, Left when
Man.
we got the lead with 17 seconds left. I left the studio. Next thing I know, I look at my phone on my way home and say overtime. I was like, what the hell? And then, yeah, we're
never
definitely.
leave a game early, Carol.
I was
I've
trying to get home. I had to be to work, and it was like
I
almost 10
know.
o'clock until the game was over.
I have a friend who's a Cowboys fan who wanted a booty call instead of watching the end of the game. And you remember we got two big long touchdowns to win that Monday Night Football game, and I never have stopped giving him shit, and will continue to on this podcast.
There you go.
So it's never over till it's over. But let's get into some hockey talk. Anna, why don't you help us break down the first game, and then we'll talk about it.
Of course. So we have last Tuesday. Here we go with Winnipeg Jets. Didn't know what to expect into this game, but I was happy with the outcome. But we have the Jets scoring the first and second goals within 2 minutes and 20 seconds in the first period. So that wasn't expected, but I think the Caps rallied. But at 16:58, Ovi scores his 27th, assisted by Hathaway. Second period, the only goal belongs to number 9, Mr. Orlov. Good for him. 4:26, assisted by McMichael and Eller. Third period, Protas scores his third at 4:15, but the Jets tie it up at 18:55. And then, of course, Carol, I hope you saw this or at least saw the highlights. In overtime, 26 seconds, Tommy Wilson scores. Beautiful. Assisted by Kuzi and Orlov, 4-3 win. So this was good. I feel like they came out ready to go on this game for sure.
This game was definitely entertaining to watch. Went to overtime, unfortunately, but yeah, with the Wilson goal with Kuzi made some hell of a plays in this game. Unfortunately, they all didn't result in the goal, but the play that he made to get the puck up ice, wrap around, and leave the puck right there sitting for Wilson. He gets 2 whacks at it, boom, get it in. It was definitely a good win. The Jets, they are a fast young team, and it was good to see the Cats, like you say, come out the gate ready to try to make something happen. But unfortunately, they went down 2-0. But then Ovi started to get the offense going with that goal late in the first. And I don't like to having to come back all the time, but it's good to see that they can do that because, as we've seen, it can bite you in the ass sometimes.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm excited. I think the Caps are going on the power play here. They're down 1-0, 15 minutes left. It's a tripping call. Dmitry Orlov was able to draw it. Hopefully we can get some life here. So far, they've got a big shutout going, and we got to somehow find a way to break it. And it's pretty frustrating. It's been a good game, and it's literally only one mistake from Vitek Vanacek. It's the difference in this game, but hopefully we're able to find a way. Going back to the game that we were just talking about, I didn't see the first 2 goals, so I got to turn it in with down 0-2, which is like, ooh, it was pretty bad. And then Ovi, just incredible. I mean, just to be able to come back in both of those, and I was really happy that we were able to come away with a big victory in that game. I thought we were going to lose it for sure. It was kind of the opposite of, I feel like, every other game has been the last couple of months. It was just like a bizarro world, version of the game. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to go to overtime and we're going to lose, and stuff like that. And so it was nice.
It was the first overtime win for this team, which is crazy.
Yeah. And so it's funny because we have a friend, Grant, and he's traveled all the way from the UK to come over and watch some Caps games, and we've been sort of been watching his journey. I'm actually supposed to be at the Caps game tonight with him.
I know.
But because of COVID, I'm not. But yeah, I'm wishing him luck. That's why I'm like, come on, score for Grant. But ever since he's come stateside, we've done much better at overtime. So maybe he's our lucky charm that we needed for overtime games. But I was really happy. Ovechkin just got in the office. Close. It was very close.
But passing his mind this week.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot of opportunities here. Oh, okay. Anyway, so I'm really happy. Tom Wilson deserves it, and I don't know what else we could say about this game, but I was just really excited that we were able to come back, especially in the course. I was actually listening to the Power Play Point podcast this morning on my way to work. And you guys had some great stats on, and they talked about how all the stats of the last 58 minutes of the game says the Caps dominated. They basically made 2 mistakes early, but the whole rest of the game, They played well, and if they had actually fired on more power plays and not given up the goals in the first 2 minutes, it would have actually been a blowout. So that's good to see. Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
getting
you have to mention the first goal was a power play goal because they took a penalty in the first minute of the game.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
true.
and it's hard because I mean, I just keep thinking like this is it's not as bad as last year's season with the lockdown and everything and the COVID, but it's still like I feel like the roster is like who's playing tonight? Who are we going to put on the lineup? Who's coming up from Hershey? So I've been impressed with how the players have been impressed with Vitek Vanacek. Look at him. Like this is his fourth night, right?
Yeah,
This is
fourth
fourth
start in a
game.
row. Yeah, he's definitely getting the starter numbers right now of the different games, and it's interesting because I do want to get Sammy into a couple of games here. You don't want to let it get too lopsided here. But I'm happy for Vitek. He's been playing well, and he obviously stood on his head for the last 48 minutes, or sorry, 58 minutes. To allow for it to get to that point where just those are the only 2 goals he let in, and,
right?
So good on him for being able to rebound, because some people, when they let in 2 goals that quickly, it messes with their head and they're shot for the rest of the game. Good on him to rebound like that mid game. But
Absolutely.
all right, let's get into the second game.
No, boo.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'll go through it quickly. We lost. Just kidding. On Thursday, so the Caps headed to Boston, and we have Kuzi opening the scoring at 4:07 to get his 13th assisted by Ovi and TVR. And then 50 seconds later, Pasternak scores. And then we close out the first, and opening the second period, Pasternak scores again, which is frustrating. But it was followed by Eller scoring his 7th at 16:12, assisted by McMichael. And now we're at a 2-2 going into the third. This was very much one of those exciting games, kind of that score, the little ping pong match going back and forth. It was physical and I loved it. Not the outcome, but here we go into the third period. Boston scores first at 19:41. But at 10:17, Backstrom gets his first. Welcome back, number 19, assisted by Wilson. But then you got McAvoy, who goes ahead and scores at 19:15 for a 4-3 loss. I think we kind of knew Charlie McAvoy was going to do something after how he came out in that first period, and he's a tough player. So I think we knew something else was going to happen in the second end. And here we go. I will say that the stats were kind of a little frustrating. I don't know if you guys both saw the game or not, but shots on goal for the Caps were 17 and Boston 33, which seems kind of odd, like to read that having watched the game, because I thought they played 60 minutes. I thought they were, playing pretty aggressively and pretty, it's a physical game, but 17, 30, and 33, I just didn't see that. And then, of course, power play, we were 0 for 4. Just can't quite get that.
Yeah, I want to talk to Carol about that real quickly, because Blaine Forsyth, and what do you think? He's back. He's not good. When he was gone, we scored some. Last week we talked about it. We thought Nicky's back. That's the reason. I know that we don't have TJ Oshie. I know it's not a full complement, but I'm not impressed. I mean, this game we've had a 5-on-3. And they had opportunities in it. I don't want to say that it was like a really bad 5-on-3. The goal is kind of standing on his head a little bit here, but still, we're not getting it through, whatever the reason is. Carol, what are your thoughts on him?
I mean, you have a valid point. You brought it up last week, and they've got Nicky back. We have seen the power play look better, like you said, on the 5-on-3. They had a few scoring chances, but Lerner is playing a hell of a game tonight. He's on his top of his game, because it should at least be a tie game, or Caps could have had 2 or 3 on the board. But he's definitely at the top of his game. But it might, I mean, like you said, the one game that he was gone, they scored 2 power play goals, and ever since then, it's been hit or miss. So it might be, time for a change or something, because the power play has to start going, soon, because they're at the bottom of the league, and definitely can't be there. The PK has been doing pretty good, but the power play has to definitely pick it up. And going back to this Boston game, I got an interesting interaction with one of my managers at work who actually played goalie in college in Boston, and he's a Boston fan. And you saw the video I posted of the clean hit that Tom Wilson put on that young guy on the ice and laid him out. And I was watching the Caps game. I think it was Saturday when they were playing Ottawa, was streaming it on my computer, and my manager come over, and he just comes out and said, I hate Tom Wilson. Somebody's gonna F him up one day. I was like, hey, that was a clean hit. And just the look on his face, just the anger and the hate. He was like, man, I can't stand that guy. And I was like, I just said, yeah, everybody hates Tom Wilson except for Capitals fans. So it was just interesting to that.
And I hope you turned around and said, well, really, because I hate Brad Marchand. So.
Well, because he's my manager, he's the the manager of the whole store, and I need my business. I left it alone. Because I didn't want it to get in the heated. I love Wilson. He probably loved Marchand, and we'd have just been in that joint going back and forth. So I took the high road, and I just said it was a clean hit though, and I left it at that.
It was a clean hit. And
it was a clean hit, yeah.
It's coming back our way too. And I mean, Pasternak is a beast. He seems to always have our number, and he's a really good player. And gave him 2 opportunities. I'm happy that Nicholas Backstrom was able to get his first goal of the season. In this game, and I thought that overall they played pretty decent. I mean, they were able to tie the game up with the Nicky B one, and unfortunately, Boston got a power play at the very end of the game, which it was a bit of a questionable call at the time. It was a tripping call. I think he kind of grabbed the stick and brought it closer to him, and he fell over it. I think it's a bad call with less than 5 minutes left in the game, personally. But it's well within the rules to call that. You have to be careful of sneaky Boston people grabbing sticks. So, it's disappointing to lose that way, right? Because I thought it was a good game. We had actually played much better than I thought the shellacking that they faced the last time. I don't think that the Caps were better on this night, so I don't think we deserved to win. But I would have liked to have seen it go to maybe overtime or be won on a better way than a power play goal on a questionable call. What were some of your thoughts, Carol?
We had the discussion off air. We've had it before. Kuzi and his damn Eagle celebration early in the game.
Let's have it again, because I so disagree. I was talking to a lot of people on Twitch that were Boston fans about it earlier this week, and they said that don't poke the bear, so they kind of agree with you. They kind of agree.
I know you cannot get beat 7-3 at home, and then 2 minutes into the game you score. You're doing the celebration. I'm like. That wasn't. I didn't see the goal. I saw the celebration when I got home.
It just goes into it. It's part of the scoring motion. If it was something he only did to show up another team in a certain moment, I would agree with you. But he does it for his daughter.
Other people feel like they're showing them up.
But people have got to know it's a signature move by now. They follow these other players in the league. He's very famous. He's famous for doing it. Is this a surprise to anybody? Do people actually think he's showing him up, or do they think that that's his move? I just
it's a little bit of both. He feels that other teams will feel like they're showing him up when he does. That's what I say early in the game. If it was third period, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But every time he does it early,
he has to now decide time and place in situational hockey.
Boston scored 3 straight goals.
Do people not deserve to celebrate touchdowns in the first quarter of an NFL game then by that rule?
I never liked something. When I scored on defense, I gave the ball to referee.
Not scoring on defense. I'm talking about an offensive touchdown.
I mean, I'm not a fan of celebrations. It's no big
But
deal.
it's part of the game. I feel like it's part of his game, and it's what drives him. And if he's driving and playing well, I'm happy. Because we're sitting here complaining when he's doing really terrible. He's like top 15 in the league in points right now. So like,
Yeah, but I'm not complaining. All I'm saying is time and place for everything. And in the first period of a game on the road, when you just got your ass handed to you the week before 7-3, it's just to me
I'll
that's
give you it.
showboat.
They scored a minute later. So I mean, you're right
Exactly.
on you're right on the stat sheet. But I still like the fact that he does it for his daughter.
I mean,
I'll
that's
stand
cool.
behind him anything that he does for his daughter. So
That's
I mean,
cool. But just not early in the like if it's second period there, okay, cool. But first period, really, like, nah, that's too much too soon because it's too much stuff that's going to go on. The game just starting. They had the crowd behind them, and I just felt like that helped fuel that 3-goal run that they went on. That's all. Like I said, I don't say that he shouldn't do it. I just say it's a time and a place. And first period, and like you said, like with Ovi, he celebrates all his goals and everybody's goals like that. So they know that he's not trying to show anybody up. He's genuinely happy that they scored. But if he knew something that he was doing was spurring on the other team, he wouldn't do that. That's just my take about it. But like I said, I'm not blaming a loss on him for him doing the Eagle in the first period because the Capitals went 0 for 4 in the power play. They had opportunities and they just didn't take advantage of it. So we definitely have to improve the power play, getting back to your original point, because we're not used to this team being 29th or 28th in the league on a power play, even with missing pieces. So they definitely got to get everybody healthy. I know Oshie is key in that bumper position, and now we're seeing how valuable he is, because no matter who you plug in that spot, you're still not getting the same production you were getting with him in that position.
that's true. All right. Well, we can move on to the better game, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I won't do my Eagle impression. I'll let that one go. Too soon. Too soon. So on Saturday, the Caps welcome Ottawa. First and second goals were scored by Ottawa, and I think Robbie, I think even you and I had a point in the chat where we're like, this sucks. Like, well, what's going on with the team here, especially against Ottawa? But you know what? Don't ever count anybody out. However, the captain scores twice for his 28th and 29th goals to tie it up. And then at 1:13 into overtime, Backstrom. I mean, this was a sick goal. I mean, this was, I think I was listening to Joe B and a couple, I mean, maybe John Walton and a couple other people when it was being highlighted, even like the next day, about how when Backstrom's scores or when he skates, it's almost like it's in slow motion. It's just like he's just so amazing to watch. And that goal was like slow motion, and it was fantastic. And only he could pull something like that off. So a win's a win. I'll take it. This was a good one. I don't know what's going on with the Knights game right now, though.
Yeah, everyone on our bench is up in arms. So let's see the replay. So
yeah,
he's over. So
sorry to change the topic, but I'm like, I see Ovi in the box.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think they should, and they say there's too many men on the ice, but I don't think there was. I think he got off. That's unfortunate. It sucks that you can't review that.
Yeah.
Because at this part in the game, it might be worth your timeout because it's 7 minutes left.
If they're gonna get a shorthanded goal just because.
I hope you're right. Right now, we're not looking so good on this PK. They're having a lot of zone time. Yeah. Wow. So anyway, 6:45 left in the third period. Minute 30 left in the Vegas power play. They're still up 1-0 in this pretty good defensive game. Ooh, Vegas just sniped their own guy. Oh, and that guy's in a lot of pain. So yeah,
like a gunshot. Pow! Somebody got.
yeah, that guy's gonna have trouble getting off the ice. Oof. Yeah, so it's
was it Marshall Salt? I can only hope.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a full-on crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
See, the fact that I'm just now seeing it. Oh no, it's not him. God, this delay.
Is it Wah or Roy?
Roy. I know, right? Oh, he is hurt.
Oh, he's hurt badly. I shouldn't.
Wow.
But he could barely get off the ice.
I don't know.
Holy.
Yeah.
It might
Oh
be.
no. Nick Dow just lost his stick, and then the other guy just broke his stick. What a crazy exchange. Wow. I've never seen that where someone breaks their stick.
That's crazy. Yeah, you like 5 seconds ahead of me, Rob.
I know. And then I'm like still in the first period. So this is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. So did the puck hit the Knights player like right where there's like no padding on the knee?
Yeah, I
like
think it must have hit him somewhere down low where there's low padding.
Holy.
Yeah. It looked like it was an ankle.
That's like a bullet.
Ankle. And it was a bullet shot too. Oof.
All right.
Big save by VGK right there. 30 seconds left in the power play. But Anna, why don't you
I know
the scoring of this game, and I'll let you know how this power play goes.
Of which game?
Oh yeah, she just went over. I was about to give.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. I got distracted because we got distracted. Right? Yeah, you've gone through it. Nikki Baxter with the big winner. That was sick,
and
goal.
now we're here. We are playing the Knights, who are 24-15-2, and this is going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, well, we'll go back to the Nick B goal for a second in overtime. He did a great job of being able to hold it all the way to the goal line where he thought he had ran out of space.
Yeah.
And then he shot it up and over. As Ovi called it, it's a sexy goal, which I like that.
That's a great name for it. It was a sexy goal, and it was just. He's so graceful, and I feel like, is that the right thing to say to a hockey player? But he is truly
big turnover right here. Oh, opportunity! Just God, their goaltending has been really good today.
Yeah, he's been on fire.
Yeah, it's frustrating. 4:37 left in the third here, but I'm just so happy for Nikki B to win it, and just a really gutsy effort. In this game, just to be down 2-0. Zach Sanford, a former draft pick of ours, is scoring the second goal, and then Ovi, 29 goals. At the end of the night, he led the league in goals. It would eventually get tied later because somebody got a hat trick on Rangers. But he's done 29 goals, and at the beginning of or the end of that night, he was also led the league in points, which I think he might still be tied for, or he's up there. Which is really incredible. Nikki B got the assist on Ovi's second goal, so he had 2 points on the night, which is really exciting. For me, as a big Nikki B fan, there's an opportunity for Vegas to score a goal right there. Kuzi's
and there was I wish I would have written it down, but there was a crazy statistic about Ovechkin's hits. And he's got 3,500, and the next person, second, third, and fourth are 800. It's just
the stat was for top goal scorers since 2005. I saw the stat, and he had as many hits almost as the next 4 top goal scorers combined. Carol, so good for me, that, because people are like, oh, Crosby's better because he got more cups. I'm like, you got to look at him as a full, well-rounded player. And if you do, and you look at all of his statistics, I think Ovechkin is a better player than Sidney Crosby. And I know that I'm extremely biased here, but I still think it's true, because the fact is he's got more points than Sidney Crosby does, more goals than Sidney Crosby does, and more hits than Sidney Crosby does, right?
Well, he just plays better than Crosby.
And more games played. He's more durable than Sidney Crosby. So he's on the ice. So, yes, Sidney Crosby has maybe more points per game metric, whatever that is, but, it's more important to be on the ice and actually produce those points, not, has the ability to, right?
Exactly.
So, I agree that the Penguins have had better teams than Ovechkin has had. And so I understand that he may have led those teams or whatever, but I will stand by the fact that if you're trying to compare the players, you can't necessarily use team accomplishments as a tiebreaker or whatever. So
agree.
So I mean that's kind of my thought on that. But yeah, it's incredible. He's had over 3,000 hits as someone who's scored as much as he has. Is remarkable.
Yeah, Ovi, I talk about it, but him having that many hits and staying as healthy as he does, it's amazing. That's why I say he's the greatest DC sports athlete. That's just why I just don't see anybody other than any other DC sports athlete that
Yeah, I agree because he changed the culture, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
that's when you talk about like Rock the Red and everything that came behind it and all the push that got us to an eventual Stanley Cup. Yes, he faltered many times getting us there, but he still got us there
Yeah.
eventually, and it never was able to happen before. The previous time it had happened, I got to be there and I got to watch a sweep. Like for me, like so, and then 20 years passed, right,
Yeah.
and until it happened. So. Um,
But
it's
getting back to the auto of the game, that goal by Nicky was sick. I mean, the fact the way he stole the puck, controlled it, then slow walked it, and that backhand is ridiculous. But Ottawa, as I mentioned, the week before, they're a young team that can score, that's fast. They were down to Pittsburgh 5-1 and almost came back on them before the game before they played the Capitals. So I saw what they were capable of, and the Capitals beat them earlier this season when they got out to a lead. So really wasn't too worried because I know the history with Ottawa and the Capitals, and I knew they were going to come back. I wasn't expecting Ovi to do it by itself, but that's his greatness and what he does. And it was good to end the week that way, and hopefully we can start the week with a win because where it's looking now, they're going to have to pull the goalie, and we've been getting beat 6-on-5, so maybe we can actually get some of that luck and score 6-on-5 if we have to.
Yeah, it's 2:42 left here in the third. Vegas is still up 1-0. Just got to get one through them, but their goalie has just been
Crazy
really
the last like
phenomenal.
3 minutes. The puck has just been exploding off everybody's stick. Nobody's controlling the puck. It's like they're getting a chance to get a break, and then it either dribbles off their stick or when they pass it, it's too hard, and Vegas goes the other way. It's been crazy the last like 2 minutes with the stick exploding. It's crazy.
The Caps finally got a little bit of zone time there, but it's still unable to control it. The ice in Capital One isn't the best, especially late
No.
games, and which is unfortunate for us. Oh, big chance right there, big slap shot. Another save, another big slap shot from the point, and that save point blank. We're at 1:55 left in the third here. We're trying. We're putting shots on net. I would say we're controlling the tempo here late, but it's just I don't know if it's going to be enough to get one through. I mean, both these teams are desperate need of wins. I believe
Yeah.
Vegas has only won 2 out of 7 games, and the Caps have only won 3 out of 9. So, like, both of them have come into the month atop the divisions, and both of them have losing records in this month. So, like, and this happens a lot to the Capitals. They often have terrible Januaries. Like, it's not like I believe they had a terrible January in 2018 as well. So if it wasn't a terrible January, terrible February, it's now empty net for Washington. 137 left. Face-off draw between Lars Eller, and I didn't see who the other guy was. But
A fun fact: the Capitals are the only team in the league that haven't lost back-to-back games in regulation.
really,
Oh,
Yep. Watch NHL Network the other night. And they said it. I heard that.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
haven't had back-to-back regulation losses all season. Caps are the only team.
Wow, that's crazy. But how? I guess not. I guess okay. Well, because this one was yeah. They had 3 losses in a row, but the one in the middle went to a shootout.
Oh,
So
so in regulation. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah. I was
regulation.
gonna say, I was like,
Wow.
I was like, we had a 3-game losing streak this month. I was trying to figure out how the hell that's a possibility there, but yeah, I now see that. But well, thanks NHL Network. They're probably gonna jinx us, but
But
another
they did the last
opportunity.
game.
Oh, Kuzi's stick just shatters. They're just having terrible luck. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
stick shattering, a lot of bouncing biscuits, a lot of that guy.
Oh,
Just,
no.
yeah, opportunities there. So,
Let's go ahead and get into the upcoming schedule. We can get into this NFL divisional round.
yeah. So we got San Jose 7 o'clock on Wednesday, and then we're going to Dallas at 9 o'clock on Friday. So just 2 games. The San Jose Sharks recently have lost to Tampa Bay and Seattle. I think those were their 2 previous games. Yep. So they had beaten the Kings before that, lost to the Pens before that, lost to the Rangers before that. And on Dallas's side, They have beaten. They went to Detroit and to Buffalo and won both those games 5-4. And they had lost their 3 previous to at Florida, at Tampa Bay, and to Montreal. Yeah, I mean, these are important wins. I mean, we might see Holtby in goal. That'd be interesting. Although they haven't been, he's I think the backup right now.
Yeah, he hasn't been too impressive in Dallas.
Yeah, there was some talks of trading him. I was in some debates on forums. Carol, if you got him on the cheap, would you take Holtby back, or do you like what we got?
That's a tough. Who you get him on the cheap?
Yep. Let's say you have to give up one of your 2 goalies, but you're thinking that you might give him up anyway, right?
I mean, they can always bring him in on just a year deal. And
well, it would be a prorated salary. They'd take part of the salary, and they would take one of our goalies. You pick it, Sammy or VTech. I don't even know if I care. Like, because both of them have been okay, but also none of them have been like outstanding either. And both of them are on like deals that could eventually, like the Sammy, it's a 1-year contract, so you're losing him anyway, maybe. So
yeah, to Sammy and take Holtby. I just to see what he got, to see if he could get comfortable back at Capital One and maybe get hot and fuel into another run. I take the chance on if it's on the cheap.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll ask you really quickly, Anna. What would you?
100%.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say.
But yes, for Sammy, would you do it for VTech though?
Nah, I couldn't do it for VTech.
No,
okay.
I don't know. There's something. Yeah,
VTech.
I know. I don't know what it is.
Because
like,
in your scenario, you could have Holtby, as your starter, and you could have Sammy as your backup, right? But anyway,
I would have I'd want Holtby and VTech, and I think like there's
you may have to give up more salary or a pick for that. I mean, just knowing that. Yeah. So
yeah.
You probably.
I don't know. I mean, like there's something just about Holtby that just belongs back in Washington. It's just, I don't know, a Stanley Cup aside, the save aside, just, his vibe. He was just, I don't know. I just feel like if he was going to ever have to end his hockey career, I would want it to be here, but I would want it to be here with a cup the second time around with him. So yeah, I would. I don't know what's up with Sammy. I feel like there's, I don't know if he's on COVID, out with COVID again, what's going on, but 4 games to put Vanacek in is quite a lot, but I've been impressed with Vanacek, and I don't know, I guess I'm assuming Sammy will play against the Sharks and Dallas, but who knows? But you guys have got so much awesome 49ers talk to talk about that I should cut out.
Caps got shut out 1-0.
Oh, stop it. I'm still on the highlight of the guy getting the puck to the knee. So
but before we let you go, I want to get your take real quickly on the 49ers. Any thoughts you have on that, and then any final thoughts you have in general, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, like you said before, the fact that they made it this far is impressive. I'm a proud fan of the Niners, have been since 1980 from the Bay Area. We followed Joe Montana from South Bend when we lived there, and he came to the Niners. So yay. But you know what? I'm happy with the teams. And of course it's going to be a huge rival with SoCal and NorCal going against each other. So I'm hoping for a Niners win, but I'm just proud of these guys. Oh my God, George Kittle. Love him.
Yeah, I'm just so happy for you because I really wanted it so badly. I'll be totally honest, I didn't think it was gonna happen,
Oh, I didn't either.
But I'm really happy that you get an opportunity, and I think it's really cool that the NFC West gets. I think they were the best division in the NFC all season, and I think it's kind of cool. And it's interesting. The 49ers beat LA both times this season. So
Oh yeah, which is why I think it's going to be like, a big deal. And of course, like now there's all this chirping with the LA fans are not going to allow San Francisco fans to buy tickets. I'm like, oh, shut up. Like, I don't even
well, it's interesting. I was looking back in history. It's really rare for divisional opponents to meet in the conference finals. It's
Yeah.
only happened a couple of times. I was looking back over the last 50 years. I think it's only happened 4 or 5 times. It's actually happened the most between Washington and Dallas meeting in conference finals way back when,
Right.
a long time ago. But it's interesting because these two teams have actually played before in a conference final. They're one of the few that have played before. And I also wanted to ask Carol real quickly. Don't you agree that it's really hard to beat a team 3 times? Like I feel like it's either, if it's split in the regular season, then it's always an interesting matchup. But like the team that wins the 2 in the regular season, I feel like they sometimes struggle the 3rd time. Like it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the season.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I mean, as long as you execute and you execute your game plan and you make adjustments, because the 2 times that you beat them, they're definitely going to watch that tape to see what they did, going to find a way to counter what you did to stop them from doing what they wanted to do. So you're going to have to be ready to make adjustments. It's like chess. You have to make your next move your best move, so you know what you did, you know how you stopped them, and you beat them the first 2 times. So you just have to make adjustments off of those adjustments. It's hard. That's how hard it is, because you have to think 2 steps ahead and try to be ready for, but you don't know what to expect because you know they're going to have a counter to whatever you were doing before. So it's going to be an interesting chess match, and I'm sorry to say, Anna, that for the Rams. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I get it. I feel like the picture of Von Miller is just going to be hanging like with darts that the Niners are just going to be throwing out to be like, this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy. That guy's a beast. I mean, my God. And Stafford, I don't know. You just, but I think it'll be fun. And I have absolute respect for Patrick Mahomes. Like you can't I can't stand his brother, but that's okay. That's a whole other story. But you got to respect him in the fact that he came out, at like he didn't celebrate. He went straight to now I'm just drawing a blank on the Bills quarterback.
Josh
Hello. Thank you. And congratulated him. To me, the sportsmanship with Mahomes has always been fantastic. And I think it'll just be fun to see. But yeah, I'm going to pull for my Niners, but I'm not expecting oh, who knows? You know what? Fuck it. Maybe they're just gonna totally surprise me. Who knows?
You don't know any given Sunday.
Exactly.
Well, I hope that we get to see you next week and we get to celebrate a victory with you. That would be an awesome Victory Monday again.
It would.
We get to do that with you. But thank you so much for joining us. Also, I know that you're taking a little hiatus from Power Play, but you are going to join them again. They did do a great show this past weekend. If you want to check out Gil, and he had 2 special guests, and including Bradley, who I was supposed to be at this game with. And I feel for him that they just lost 1-0. But I was supposed to get to meet Bradley tonight, which is kind of a bummer. But anyway, I'm happy. It was a great show, and people should go check that one out.
Awesome.
Click on the Power Play Point podcast under the podcast partners button on SportsOTHP.com. But and I'm going to give you a quick shout out in our chat on Twitch. You now have a whole new call out, and I know you don't watch on Twitch, but it gives your Twitter, your Instagram, and a link to the Power Play Point podcast all at once. So
I will take it. And thanks. Yeah. And I'm sorry that we went, oh my gosh, that we went over, but yeah, and I'll be Power Play on Sunday before the Niners game, and then hopefully see you guys on Monday.
Sounds good. Awesome.
All right. Have a great night. Thanks, guys. Hi, Duchesne.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Are you gonna pull for the Niners?
No.
Oh, all right.
I will though for you.
I'm clicking the leave button. Bye, guys.
What's going on, Duchesne?
What's up, man?
Man, yeah, we getting to talking to Capitals, man. You know how it is, especially with a live looking game. But yeah, this was a great weekend of football. Robbie started the show when we talked a little bit of football. This is one of the best divisional rounds pretty much ever, and I have to agree with the new format, the extra game in the regular season, and the extra wild card team, and the first round bye going to the top seed, and that's it. I've been asking for that for a long time, just one seed. But I like the format that they had, and they had some very entertaining games this weekend. I went 3 for 4. That Kansas City Buffalo game, we definitely want to talk about that. That's the only one that I didn't get correct. I thought I did when I left the studio, but apparently 13 seconds is enough time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that, man, I was like, wow. But let's go ahead and start from the top. I know you short on time. We had the Cincinnati Bengals defeating Tennessee, knocking off the number 1 seed in the AFC, 19-16 for game-winning field goal by McPherson. I think his name is. Yeah, the winning
Yes.
time expired. Joe Burrow, 28 for 37, 348 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Ryan Tannehill, 15 for 24, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Jamar Chase, 5 catches, 109 yards. AJ Brown, 5 catches, 142 yards with 1 touchdown. I didn't get a chance to really watch this game closely. I went with Cincinnati because I feel like they were, in the groove. They got a nice rhythm going. And Tennessee, getting Derrick Henry back after he'd been out for a few weeks, and them having that week off, I didn't think they were going to be able to get it going, but they're not really an offensive powerhouse. But it was a close game, and Cincinnati found a way to win it late to knock off the top seed and to advance to the NFC Championship game. Who would have thought you've been saying Cincinnati's going to the conference championship, but we see that Joe Burrow has stepped his game up and led this team. And once he got his old college teammate, they just started clicking back together. And it definitely, there was hopes of that here with, a certain quarterback in Terry McLaurin, but I guess it worked out a little bit west of here instead of here. What did you take away from the Cincinnati game, Dujane?
It was a good game. It played out the way I expected. I mean, Tennessee they are what they are. They have a tendency of doing that when they get the first round bye. It usually never works out for them when they do. We talked about it on the previous show. I mean, a guy coming away from a foot, I mean, it's a foot. We ain't talking about like some little meniscal injury. It's a foot. I thought Tennessee did a piss poor job of not sticking with I think it was Freeman. Freeman had like 4 carries for 66 yards. He was averaging 16.5 yards per carry. Coach told me that if you running a man and he's getting 16.5 yards a carry, you run him until he's the defense is making him average 3.5 yards a carry. I thought it was a bad game plan. And when we talked about it on the show last week, when you put the ball in Tannehill's hands, Tannehill is going to give you a few, and he did just that. Some things we saw from Cincinnati, though, that we haven't seen at all, especially in this playoffs, is the offensive line broke down. Joe Burrow was running back there for his life, taking down 9 sacks. I think that was a franchise record for Tennessee. If I don't think that's I think that's an anomaly. I don't think that's something that we're gonna see a regular deal of. At least you hope not if you're a Cincinnati fan. We haven't seen that from them on a regular basis. I don't expect to see that in this AFC Championship game. But they did what they had to do. Their defense and special teams plays very well. And it worked out. It worked out for them. It kind of played out exactly how I figured Tannehill would give up the game, and he did just that. And Cincinnati was right there waiting on it and capitalized.
Pretty much that's what it pretty much looked like with 3 interceptions. Robbie, did you have any take on this? Oh, lucky you go get some drink, so I guess not. All right. We'll get to the next game, which Anna just speaking of. The San Francisco 49ers defeated the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau, 13-10 with the late game winning field goal. Jimmy G went 11 for 19, 131 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Aaron Rodgers, 20 for 29, 225 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Debo Samuel, 3 catches, 44 yards, no touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 9 catches for 90 yards, no touchdowns. I didn't get a chance to see a lot of this game. I only saw bits and pieces, but I know San Francisco's offense was kind of ineffective early. They were able to get some points and maintain in that cold and found a way to kick the game-winning field goal late in that cold weather, which was, yeah. But I took San Francisco. I wasn't really sold on Green Bay. You already know I'm not Aaron Rodgers, his biggest fan. So I didn't really see this as a big advantage. The weather played more of an advantage in this game than anything else. But it was good to see, some good cold, old school football hitting hard in the cold. And, yeah. San Francisco advances to the NFC Championship game.
Look, this, I wasn't expecting much. I was just looking at the fact that Green Bay's played well all year. Okay. They played better than San Francisco all year. So looking at everything, should come in at home, right? And look good. Well, it's funny how this team, Mr. Double A, Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Discount Double Check, the old great one, holier than thou, comes into playoffs and cries for first round buys and cries for home field advantage, and yet shows up small. Shows up small every time they get first round buys and home field advantage. Dude is 0-4. 0-4. He has nobody to blame, right? I mean, that offense looked outside of the first drive, they didn't do nothing. Absolutely nothing. Against really, you have to give San Francisco their credit. They have a very stout defense. Their linebacking core is excellent. They get to the ball quickly. I thought Bosa put a lot of pressure on him, forced him to step up in the pocket, and Bosa's ability to change direction, get back downhill on him, because how Aaron Rodgers likes to pat the ball, step up in the pocket, and then he likes to run a little bit, makes his way to the line of scrimmage, and then he can make a decision of where he's going to toss it or he's going to run it. And he didn't have that decision because he was getting clipped up from behind because he didn't think Bosa was going to come back downhill and get him. A lot of those plays got taken away from him, but they really had nothing for him. The problem is, though, Jimmy Gag. Yes. Jimmy got no soul. Jimmy got no soul. Jimmy got no soul. See, Jimmy, from end of regular season game to now, you know what his stat line is? You know what his stat line is? It is 4 interceptions and 1 touchdown. You know how many touchdowns he got in his playoffs? 0. But he sure got some interceptions. He can't be trusted with the football, man. He can't be trusted with the football. And to be quite honest with you, Jimmy better be taking his special teams unit out for steak dinners. Because if it's not for his special teams unit, they going home, going fishing. Because they didn't do nothing either. Receivers don't have no touchdowns. I mean, Kittle's the only guy that did some work. He's the only guy that really did some work, him and Debo. I mean, spite the fact that their quarterback was trying all day to give Aaron Rodgers an ability to be in the NFC Championship game. You know what I mean? But you got to give them the credit for a team effort. A team effort. And you know what, Anna? Look, San Francisco didn't show anything on tape they didn't have to do much. They really didn't. They kept it close, piddled around a little bit, and just so happened to do just enough to be in the game to get a field goal win. So now Kyle can pull out some magic tricks against Sean McVay. It'll be the battle of two former Washington offensive coordinators, and we'll see what they do. We'll see who decides to lose the game in the fourth quarter or not. It's really what it's going to come down to. I'm really intrigued by this matchup, but kudos to their special teams and their defense. They hung around, but Aaron Rodgers, where is his greatness? Great regular season and shows up small in the playoffs.
You already know how I feel about Mr. Rogers. And there's going to be, rumor is he might have been Pittsburgh or some.
I see him in Pittsburgh. I do.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't care because to me, like you say, I don't see what everybody else sees. You got one ring and complain that you didn't have help and you had hellified help on offense. Maybe not always help on defense, but now your defense been potent and you coming up, like you say, small.
He came up smaller this weekend. That's on him.
Exactly.
Immunized self.
Let's get into the other team that's going to the NFC Championship game. The Rams defeated Tampa Bay 30-27 on another game-winning field goal late. Stafford went 28 for 38 for 366, 2 touchdowns. Tom Brady went 30 for 54 with 329 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Cooper Kupp, 9 catches, 183 yards with a touchdown. Mike Evans, 8 catches, 119 yards with a touchdown. I figured the Rams would be able to take out Tampa Bay. They had a 14-point lead with about 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I was at the studio when DJ Grip was like, yeah, this game over. I'm like, dog, 12 minutes, 14 points for Tom Brady. That's an eternity. They're going to find a way to make it close. He's like, nah, it's over. Then it got to be about 4 minutes left, and they were still down 14. And they still found a way to tie the game up.
But Carol, it was 27-6 with 3:06 left in the third quarter. 27-6, right? Like, that's pretty incredible to me. Like, I watched it unfold, and I still can't sit here, don't understand it, but as legend grows, even in a loss. Like, to me, this is the best case scenario. I was rooting for them to come back to lose. This is exactly what I wanted, and I got it, and I loved every moment of this game.
But go ahead, Carol.
No, I was just saying, they found a way to get back in the game. I didn't really see. I was doing the show, so I was watching the game and doing the show last night, so I didn't get a chance to pay close attention. But it always comes down to play calling from the team that has the lead. They start trying to get too fancy, not doing smart things, run the ball, get the clock down, and trying to, I'm going to go for the dagger here or do this. It ended up letting the other team back in the game, and that's pretty much the way I saw it from what happened from the glimpses of the game that I got to see. What do you say, Dujane?
No. See, look. See, this comes from you up 27-6. Mm-hmm. All right. And see, this is what the Rams been doing all season long. This is where I have a problem. I have a real big problem with this. Now, I get it. It's Tom Brady on the other side. They're not going to quit. But see, this is like a drag race where you got the better car and you think you heard the car in the other lane smoke the tires, and they may have whisked them a little bit, and you were way out in front, and you just decided you're going to let your foot off the gas because you think the other car in the other lane shut off. See, Sean McVay been doing this all season long. You jump out on people, and then all of a sudden you go to this vanilla offense. Your defense is kind of meh. You're doing whatever. They weren't trying to go for no gusto or trying to keep scoring. They were doing running plays and stupid short passing that wasn't getting first downs and punting, and thinking that it was just they were just going to lay down. They were going to lay down because it was 27-6, and they were just going to lay down. They didn't even try to run the clock out. Even in the fourth quarter, they didn't try to run the clock out. They ran 3 quick plays with 4 minutes left and gave Brady back the ball.
But here, real quickly, because my favorite part was they kicked a field goal to start this, and I turned to my dad and said, "How can you, when it's 27-3, kick a field goal?" And he said, "It'll make it a 3-possession game. It'll change the game." And I said, "Dad, they need touchdowns. They need to make back points. There's no way a field goal is a smart decision here." And he said, "You watch. It can make the difference in this game." And sure enough, my dad was right. I thought he'd actually be in Twitch chat today and gloating about it because he was right. And that started with the field goal. And then they got that Leonard Fournette touchdown. And then Tom Brady makes an incredible pass, 55-yard touchdown to Mike Evans. And, I mean,
because they're sleep on defense, too. I mean, that's another thing. How is it that Ramsey, your best player, it's best player against best player, and I get it. But there's a lot of times Ramsey reminds me of Diggs with the Cowboys. How are you getting beat like that? How? Do you know they got to go there?
At the end, though, 4th and 1 with 46 seconds left, you're still in a situation there where you're up a touchdown and everyone thinks it's going to be a sneak. Everyone's talking about it. It's all you hear on the TV is it's going to be a sneak. It's going to be a sneak. It wasn't a sneak. Shocking that they doing so away from the convention that everyone assumed it was going to be, right? And Leonard Fournette had the easiest 9-yard touchdown I've ever seen.
It was so easy.
And that's at 46 seconds left. I thought, oh my God, there's too much time left. And sure enough, and then that's the crazy part, right? How did Tampa Bay get into a situation where it's a 30-yard field goal?
Right.
That quickly. In 42 seconds.
Right.
That's crazy. Like, my dad was like, why aren't they, like, getting them down? Why aren't they holding them up so that way the time runs out? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many situations you could do, play it better, but they gave up that many yards. I couldn't believe it in such a short period of time.
It was the Cooper Kupp play for me. Like, you know, that's their best guy. Like, you know, it's the same thing. It's the same thing in the Kansas City Buffalo game. And I know we're going to get there, but like, you let Cooper Kupp streak down the middle of the field. Like, you know, that's the guy they got to go to. Why? I know you got to
doubling him.
Exactly.
Double him.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just let him streak down the middle of the field and get right in the field goal range. And then you're looking at each other like, what happened? Oh, I know exactly what happened. The fans even know what happened. Like, it doesn't take rocket scientists to figure that out. Like, that's ignorance. I just don't understand it. But the Rams don't get any credit for winning that game because they should have kept their foot on the gas pedal. That's why I like Belichick. Like, he going to keep scoring until he realizes that he done took your heart and he can see it in your eyes that it's over and you know it's over. But they just assume that just because you up by a considerable amount of points that people just going to lay down for them. And they let folks back in the game. This kind of goes back to the 49ers getting into the playoffs. They had one job. They could have easily won that game in the regular season, but no. They thought they were going to roll the Rams helmets out there. They had the game. They could have won the game. But they're in a dogfight for no reason. Because Sean McVay likes to take his foot off the gas. If he take his foot off the gas again, he going to find himself in another losing situation. In a losing press conference, making up 1,001 excuses of why they didn't get it done. That's my problem. I know they won, but it's not like that. It didn't have to be that close. But kudos to BA and Tom Brady for not hanging their heads and not folding the 10 in and continue to battle back until that clock said 0, 0, 0, 0. They put themselves back in that game, realizing that the Rams were giving them that, had the door wide open, allowing them to waltz right through it, and they took it.
I actually feel for both teams that lost in that Sunday games, right? Because I feel like Tampa Bay laid it all on the field, and so did Buffalo.
They did.
Like, you
They
know,
did.
and both were incredible games, and it's sad that they had to lose. And it's so interesting that like Saturday is a case of the number one seeds falling, and in the Sunday games, I thought top the Saturday games, and just it's so different. Like the Saturday games had more defensive things, and the Sunday games just had these explosive endings. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got a raid from Sleepy Bear Games, so welcome on in. I appreciate the raid. We have a live Pokemon. People can catch an Incada if they want to while they join us.
Final game of divisional round weekend was Kansas City defeating Buffalo 42-36 in overtime. First divisional round game go to overtime. Josh Allen, 27 for 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pat Mahomes, 33 for 44, 378 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gabriel Davis.
Who?
Exactly. And he was actually drafted 14 picks in front of AGG of the Washington football team. I just saw that stat earlier. 8 catches, 201 yards with the NFL record, playoff record, 4 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. This game was also on during the show I was doing last night, so I didn't get a chance to keep a close eye on it because my stream kept on going out, which was kind of upsetting. But I saw the fourth quarter, and when Buffalo scored a touchdown with roughly 16 seconds left on the clock.
It was 13.
13, yeah, correct, 13. I was packing up my stuff and said, okay, let me go ahead and head home. On the way home, I see the game is in overtime. So I don't even know what play that they ran with 13 seconds to put them in field goal range to hit a 49-yard field goal to tie the game that I thought was already over. And then they proceed to take the overtime kickoff and score a touchdown. Now, I've seen folks complaining online.
Okay. I want to get in this debate badly. But I want to break down so many things before we get into that debate. Because
I'll hold off. I'll hold off for that debate.
Yeah, because that's like the shining debate that I was waiting for. But like, there's so much in this great game that we have to break down first, because I feel like that's an afterthought. It's a cop out. It's what all the media is talking about this morning. But I think that they missed. Like, it's a great game, and it sucks that one possession could win it. But there were so many opportunities here, and how the hell, again, Dugenet, at the end of the game, my dad was saying, hold them up, like, don't let them, like, run out they don't have any timeouts, like, don't just immediately tackle them, and then, like, give them an opportunity, like, that's the crazy part, right? Am I crazy for thinking that, Dugenet, like...
No, not at all. Not at all. It was wild to me. It was wild to me. In the final play to get them in field goal range, you've got, I understand you trying to protect the sidelines, but again, your 2 most important players on that field are Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And how is Travis Kelce running down the middle of the field on the left side, wide open to get right where? In field goal range to tie this ball game so you can go into overtime where if you don't get this ball, you likely are going home. How? I just don't understand the defensive calls. I really don't. I don't. We just going to stand back and we just going to let them throw the ball into open spaces. We going to let Tyreek Hill do his little gadget whoop-de-whoop step back. I'm going to do Madden, a 5-year-old with the controller just going wild, spin around and do stuff and get open and run for 30 yards. And I don't get it. What are we doing? You just gave him that. And I figured he missed enough field goals. He was making that one. Like, there was no chance he was missing that one. I don't understand none of it. And when it was 13 seconds left, when they scored, I looked at my wife and I said, 13 seconds? That's too much time. It's too much time.
1 minute left in the fourth quarter, and we're still convinced. And they've got the whole field to go down.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like, I don't understand it. So that's kind of my point, though. It's like, it sucks that Buffalo doesn't get a chance in the next debate that we're about to have. But, like, they had a chance. They could have stopped them there. And they didn't.
That's on Leslie Frazier. It's on Leslie Frazier and his defensive play calling. I mean,
let them have 2 drives at the end of the game, at the end of regulation and overtime for the touchdown. At some point, your defense has to stand up for one of those 2 drives.
They got to stop somebody. I mean, they had several opportunities to make stops, and they just let them march right down. And it looked like they took the same defensive scheme they had in the last drive, and they started off the overtime with the same stuff. Let them catch it in front of us, and we just gonna push them out of bounds. Catch it in front of us, push them out of bounds, or tackle them right there. And they just chipped away, marched right down the field. And then that last time, there was no tackling anybody because there was nobody to tackle, and he went right in the end zone. It was just too what easy. Are you doing, Leslie Frazier? Like that just don't make a whole lot of sense. That's why he's not a head coach. Like, I mean, I hate to say it.
And that's my frustration is if it's going to be that easy to walk down the field, then you don't deserve a second opportunity to score or whatever that is. But all right, but let's have the debate now, Carol, because I do want to have it. So here's the question. Because I don't the only rules that seem to make sense is if you score a touchdown, the other team gets the ball, and then they score a touchdown, then whoever scores next wins, right? That's the only, or do you believe in that it should be a 15-minute quarter and whoever is winning at the end of that, and if it's still tied, then there's another 15-minute quarter, but that's brutal. So, Carol, those are the 2 options for if you wanted to change it, or do you think it stays the same?
I want it to stay the same.
All right.
Because like in college, you know, you have that going back and forth, boom, boom, boom. But now you're in the NFL. So, yeah, you know that you need to get that ball back. Your defense is paid to get that ball back or at least get a stop. And that's what makes it the pros. This isn't college where you're going to go back and forth, back and forth. You're a pro team. You're getting paid to play this game. You on defense, you go out there, you get that ball, or you get that third down stop and make them punt the ball and get your team the ball back. I think it's a perfect transition from the college game to the pro game. So I don't have a problem with it. If your defensive coordinator gets paid, your defensive players get paid, they, like Dujane said, you don't get the ball back, you know 9 times out of 10 the game is over. So you need to go out there and make a damn play, boy. Go do something.
And Dujane, what do you think
about it?
You know, I don't have a problem with the overtime. I mean, they're giving you an opportunity to get a stop in the red zone, force a field goal. You have an opportunity to go down there and either A, match to send it to sudden death, or score a touchdown and walk off the field, you know, or they get a walk-off touchdown and they send you home. The only other thing I can see an adjustment is this. If one team scores a touchdown, the other team has an ability to score a touchdown, or if they don't score at all, the game is over. But that creates a lot of confusion because it basically is the same thing, right? If I go down, if the team goes down and kicks a field goal, you hold them to a field goal, and then you get a field goal, then it's still sudden death. If you go down and they score a touchdown and you score a touchdown, it's still sudden death. So the only thing you're adding is that, okay, I'm going to still get a possession whether they score a field goal or a touchdown. So isn't that kind of a cop-out? Because basically it gives them an opportunity to say, okay, on this first possession, I'm just going to try some whatever random stuff. I'm going to blitz a whole lot and just do some stuff that I don't care because I know I got a possession coming to me. Look, just force them to kick a field goal or stop them. The rules are already in play for them to get the ball back. The fact of the matter is Leslie Frazier didn't do a good job, and they went right down the field with ease and got the score. Could you imagine with college rules what this would be? What this game would have been like? We'd be still throwing touchdowns right now. If we going touchdown for touchdown, like we still throwing touchdowns now.
Even college, I'll be honest, even college changed the rules, so we got to remember that. Like they can't even do that anymore. It's now like 2-point conversions back and forth once it gets to a point.
Right.
I think it was the right decision because
it's ridiculous.
The body impact. But if you were going 2-point conversions back and forth in this game, and they adopted that year, it would be forever, right? So
yeah,
you know, like
I mean, I think the rules are fine. They didn't do their job. Leslie Frazier didn't do that
all
job.
Three of us agree on this, like unanimously, pretty like not even any hesitancy, but like such a huge debate across the internet today. I'm like, I don't think that it really is a debate if you follow football for more than 20 years, but maybe if you just want points and you just want excitement for your infinite amount of time, you know.
Look, it sucks that somebody had to lose that game, but at the end of the day, somebody had to lose that game, and unfortunately, it was the Buffalo Bills. Like. Somebody had to lose that game. I mean, it'd have been just as bad if it had been Pat Mahomes in Kansas City that had to lose that game. If it had come down to the fact that they kicked a field goal and then it turned around and had to go and be, you know, them to go down and score a touchdown and win that game, it would have stunk. It would have been the same feeling. Like, I don't even know why it was such a big conversation. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
I agree. Folks just want to make something out of nothing, man.
You got that right.
That's why I wanted to wait to have the debate, because I knew we would all be on the same side. It wasn't going to be a debate in the end, because for me it's fine.
It's fine.
15-minute overtime would have been so crazy to me, right? Like you're going to force them to play 15 minutes of overtime?
What, for the same result? What'd you do when it's tied again?
Another 15 minutes. We're gonna keep going like soccer.
We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
I'm with you. All right. Well, we had the debate, Carol.
Yeah, people look at me crazy when I used to tell that me and my bro used to play 15-minute quarters in Madden. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, we used to play 15-minute quarters in Madden. Just play the game. Somebody's gonna win. You just got to play the game right. Play it smart. The overtime is there. You get the ball, you don't get the ball, you know what you got to do. Simple as that. It's got to get the ball back.
Exactly.
That's what I feel the difference is between college and the pros. So they always say, well, look what college does. Well, this isn't college. This is the pros. It should be a difference. It should be, a different scenario than when in college. It should be harder because you're at the highest level.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and preview the NFC and AFC championship game before we get out of here. We got Cincinnati versus Kansas City. Very interesting game. Kansas City, the fourth year in a row going to the AFC championship game. Cincinnati, on a 2-game winning streak after not winning the playoff game for over 30 years. In Kansas City. This is a more of a coin toss game for me than I thought it would be. But Kansas City at home, I can't go against good old Pat Mahomes at home after we saw what they did with 13 seconds. I would love to see Cincinnati go to the Super Bowl, but I just think after that victory, Kansas City, I think they're pretty much feeling themselves like they can't be beat. And I think they're going to be they're going to have Cincinnati's number. It's going to be a good game. Probably be in the 20s, maybe 30s. But I think Kansas City's going to pull this game out.
I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals, and here's why. I think people underestimate Cincinnati's red zone defense. They've done a very good job of really being opportunistic in the red zone and picking the ball off. They have done a good job of stopping teams and forcing field goals in that red zone. I don't think what we saw from the Chiefs in that game, we haven't seen them play like that since last year Like that hasn't been this Chiefs team all season long. That offense hasn't played like that all season at all until this past weekend. So will we see a repeat of that, or will we see the Chiefs team that we saw in the first half against Pittsburgh? Don't know. I just know that Cincinnati's front is a lot better than, a lot more athletic than Buffalo's front. I think they have better corners and safeties that are more consistent. Like I said, I think they're very opportunistic in the red zone. That's where they do their best work. I think they're going to make it very difficult on them, and they're going to make them earn it and test their defense deep. If you look at Kansas City statistics, as far as their defense in the past, not very good. We've seen them give up a lot. I'm going to take the Bengals, though. I'm really concerned, though, that hopefully we don't see the 9-sack offensive line that we saw last week. That's another thing. Will it be a repeat, or was that just a one-off? So hopefully that's just a one-off. If it's a one-off, I think we're in good shape. They got a good running game. Of course, they can hit you deep with what they have. I expect it to be a close game. Probably a nice, like you said, in the 20s for both teams. But I think it'll be Kansas. I think it'll be Cincinnati for this win, though. Wouldn't be surprised if it's Kansas City, but I hope it's Cincinnati for sure.
What about you, Robbie?
I think it's going to be Kansas City. I just feel like they've been there enough, and I'd just be surprised if they lost at home. I don't know.
The lone wolf.
Oh,
I know you've been right though a lot this season. So I mean,
8-2, baby. 8-2.
Yeah, I lost track of what I was doing, but it was definitely not that good. But I've enjoyed the outcomes. I think having all the first top teams go out, having all the teams I hate go out. I'm just kind of loving football without having any pressure, and it's kind of a nice feeling. So I've been enjoying it. I'm a Ravens fan secondarily to the fact that I'm a Washington football team fan. So by that nature, I will never go for Cincinnati. So like whether or not I think Cincinnati could beat them, I definitely think they could beat them. I just think the Chiefs have been there 4 straight times the NFC Championship. The fact that it's never happened before is pretty incredible. So credit to them, and I think that they're going to win. But yeah.
All right. For the NFC Championship game, you have San Francisco versus the Rams. I already said I'm going for the Rams. Just honestly, just don't want to see Trent Williams go to the Super Bowl. That's just I'm going for the Rams in this game, and that's all I have to say about that. That's my only motivation, dog.
Yeah, but there's no like statistical analysis of who's going to do better. Just I hate this team. F that team. I'm going for this team.
I don't like Odell Beckham either, but I do like Staff, and I would love to see him get to the Super Bowl. The Rams are playing some good ball. They got a good front four. They got Von Miller now that is going to, trying to cause and wreak havoc. And I just don't want Trent Williams to go to the Super Bowl. That's about it.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I will root the other way, just because, when I was growing up, I liked the 49ers as sort of, one of the other teams that I didn't hate in the NFC. Like, they didn't play the Redskins very often back then. I always liked, Vince with Troy or Young, and I liked Steve. Yeah, I was like Vince Young. It was stuck on Vince Young. But anyway, Steve Young. He was really awesome when I was growing up. But anyway, I think the 49ers have a decent chance. I think that the Rams beat them because I don't think that the 49ers are going to win 3 times against the same team, and it's in LA. But I would love the 49ers to win. But what do you think, Dujanet?
I'm taking the Rams. Even though the Rams will once again let their foot off the gas because it just seems to be what they do. I don't know what it is. it's a Sean McVay thing, and it's something he's been doing all year. I don't see it. Like I said, in 49ers last 4 games, or 3 games, including the last game of the regular season, he's got 4 interceptions, man, and he's only got 1 touchdown. He can't put the ball in the end zone to save his life. I don't trust their offense, and I don't trust their quarterback. Their defense for the Rams, a lot of pieces there. Aaron Donald's going to be putting pressure on you. You got Von Miller. The inconsistencies with the secondary, though, it does bring up a question. But at the end of the day, it's still Jimmy Gag. Like, if it was a different quarterback, I could see the Rams losing. But I think they're clicking on all cylinders. I like what they're doing offensively. What Sean McVay's doing offensively, focusing on the run, and then allowing the play action to come off of that. I think that's been better for Matthew Stafford's game. He's looked better doing it. And I mean, what can you say about Cooper Kupp? Just tough to cover. They're lining him up and putting him in different scenarios, and just allowing him to find the weaknesses in the defense. And Stafford's just finding him and finding him and allowing him to make plays. So it's going to be a tough game for the 49ers. If Jimmy can't make plays, and he hasn't done it, and I don't expect him to do it, I'm taking the Rams. But I will say this: it doesn't matter which AFC team goes. The NFC is not winning the Super Bowl this year, period, because the AFC is significantly better than any NFC team that you could have put. If you had to handpick an NFC team, it's still not better than any AFC team that you could put in there out of these playoffs. They're just better. I think it's going to be AFC for sure that wins the Super Bowl. So NFC is just filling the spot.
Yeah. So you think Cincinnati? So all I've learned is you think Cincinnati is going to win it all?
Yes.
All right.
Whoever fills this spot, but I'm picking Cincinnati.
You pick Cincinnati, so that's
yes.
why I'm
yes.
by that assumption, yes. So all right, that's fair. I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this year. So I kind of in agreement with you on whoever wins that AFC side does. I really do hope that it's a Chiefs 49ers. I root for the 49ers. That would be my ideal scenario.
It would be cool to see the 49ers back in there. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I got any ill will towards the 49ers. I just, what they've done and how they've played, you can get lucky a few times, but Cinderella can click them heels couple times, but you ain't clicking them things 4 times and think you just gonna get into the Super Bowl and then you gonna have to win one.
Right, but the Giants is a wild card team, right? We've seen it in the past.
Yeah, that was pretty ugly, but I would say the 49ers are a little bit uglier than the Giants at this point. I mean, that game last week was ugly.
But that's kind of how you're gonna have to win in Lambeau, no? Like, there's no way. There's no.
I guess you're right about that. Yeah, it's cold. The weather. The potential of what you could have between Rodgers and the running game and his ability to make, throw it off one leg and, a hope and a prayer, throws. Yeah.
So maybe it's ugly by design, that's the only way they were going to win.
Maybe. But like I said, I wouldn't count them out because I also don't trust McVay to learn from his mistakes last week. We've seen this team do it week after week. And they, again, like you said, they've lost to the 49ers by the same stuff. Get up on them and then let up off the gas. And the 49ers have 49ers beat them to get in the playoffs because they wanted it more. So we'll see who wants it more on Sunday.
There's got to be a psychological edge to know that you can beat them twice.
Yes.
And then on the opposite side, it has to be nagging in the back of their head saying, we haven't been able to beat these guys. They've been our kryptonite, So
because think about it. They didn't do a whole lot to beat them in that last game either. It's not like they, pulled out all the stops and pulled out this masterful offense. They use simple, hard-nosed, run the football, play action. And they really haven't done a whole lot of that except for a little bit in that first game. The 49ers haven't done too much of that outside of that. So now you're not going to have any weather to deal with. And they literally can go right back to run the football and they can go play action. Yeah. Just hopefully that Jimmy Gag doesn't gag it and he just does Jimmy Garoppolo stuff.
Kyle's definitely going to, implement the use the run game, zone read, all types of stuff.
Yep.
To try to keep that front four from wreaking havoc on Jimmy G and
he has to
interception. So he's definitely going to have a good game plan. It's going to be a good game. I just think that with the explosive offense of the Rams, that the 49ers aren't going to be able to keep up. They're going to have to run the ball and try to play the time of possession game. They do have a potent defense. They can stop, the Rams and can hold them back. But with all the weapons they had and with them adding, Beckham, it has improved their offense. It gives Cup, somebody to uphold on the opposite side of him, where they can't just double team him and bracket him, but they have to worry about Odell Beckham Jr. too. And they do have a running game when they do stick with the run. So it's going to be interesting to see these two ex-Washington football team coordinators who both don't like to stick with the run, like to outthink the game, see who's going to outthink each other on this one. But it's definitely going to be an interesting game. But like I said, I cannot go with the 49ers. Once Trent leaves, then I'll go with the 49ers. But all of the hype he getting because of the Cowboys game and all of that other stuff, I just don't even. That's a whole other show.
that could be a whole show.
It was last night on At the Bar Radio. So
At least Carroll's consistent, right?
He's consistent, man. I give him that, boy.
He's on that list, man.
He's on that list. But he's on that shit list.
Yep. He is not wavering at all.
I have a diagnosed vindictive personality.
I know. I very much have tried to stay in your good graces for our entire friendship. So,
Let me see him in the street. Let me see the silverback.
That's funny.
Start the camera after I swing through.
Right.
Start the camera after that because you want to record what he do.
Right, of course. Do you really want to record what he would do to you? Because I don't know.
Hey, I'm going to court. I'm going to court. He assaulted me, Your Honor. I need a paycheck.
That's fair.
I can't sell cars no more.
All right, Janae, before this gets too crazy out of control here, let people know what you're talking about in your podcast this week. And it's been fun having these chats about the NFL playoffs with you.
Well, we have the Not Bland show is up. We talked a little bit about some NHRA news, talked a little bit about my thoughts on some of the playoff stuff. And I talked a little bit about the Antonio Brown I Am Athlete interview and what I thought about that. We will have some NHRA specials on the breakdown. I'm going to talk to a few drivers, hopefully, right before testing. That will be in February. And then the season kicks off the week after that. So it's going to be a busy couple of weeks, and we're trying to narrow some things down and get the ball rolling on some interviews, some content for you guys, and just looking forward to getting the racing season going. Appreciate you guys, and it's always a blast talking football. Glad we got another 2 weeks of this stuff before it's over.
I'm excited.
Crazy how fast it went. Wow.
I know.
I was already looking ahead. I was like, man, there's going to be a whole lull between, we'll get March Madness, both Dujanay. I know that you like that, and we can maybe we can mix it up. I have a couple of friends who like to talk March Madness. Maybe we could do a segment at some point on that in March to alleviate that time period between football seasons. But it's definitely fun. I'm excited for these conference championship games and then obviously the Super Bowl. But I hope that you have a good rest of your night, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, brother. Y'all have a good one.
Take it easy, bro.
All right. So We'll bring in both segments ran long, but they're both fantastic, so I have no complaints here. We're going to bring in DC's People Champ, who I've been chatting with in Twitch chat. We've had a good time over there. We've gotten raids. People have been watching us. I really appreciate it. Mod's doing awesome mod things, and we're bringing in Tim now. Let me see if I can do a quick little screen share as we go around and let's see this and then let me do a couple of quick adjustments on the fly like pro streamers do and get out of full screen over here. And then let's take a look at the Washington Wizards. And a pretty terrible week. Be honest. Let's bring in our panelists for today's shitty basketball. Well, the first game is actually really close, but well, actually, a couple of them are close, but they don't. None of them go our way. But so they're very disappointing results. I just want to put a caveat out there for any Wizards fans, but they would already know that. But our first guest is Champ. Champ, how are you doing tonight?
0-3. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah. I don't even think we actually made predictions last week on how we thought that they would do. I was trying to think about that because it was just the two of us.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't.
which is good because neither of us would have picked 0-3 probably. And so, but yeah, so it's rough. But hopefully your week's starting off well, Champ, and you enjoyed some of the football this weekend. So. All right.
It's actually I'm actually watching their NFL upload on the YouTube the final 2 minutes of that KC Buffalo Bills game plus the overtime, and I'm watching it right now. This is absolutely amazing stuff.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad that you guys were watching basketball when you could have been watching this incredible football game, but I really appreciate it for helping me break it down. I really it was a heavy football week for me, but the Nets Wizards, let's go back in time to Wednesday, January 19th. We'll go through the scoring quickly. Brooklyn.
Hi, Tim.
Oh, yeah, Tim. Tim said
oh, hey,
something.
guys.
I forgot that I hadn't actually got to introduce him. Tim, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, pretty good. Happy to break down these losses. Not really, but glad to see you guys.
Yeah, awesome. Did you end up watching some of the football as well?
Yeah, I mean, I watched all three Wizards losses. And this one yesterday was before the Bills game, so I didn't miss anything great.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so yeah, Nets start off hot. Then they put together a 41-point second quarter, so they're really behind the eight ball at that point. The Wizards outscoring by 1 in the third, and they outscoring by 10 in the fourth. And they actually, I believe it tied the game up in the final minute of this game, only to end up losing. Is that correct? Or I know it was very close to the very end. I don't know if they actually.
Yeah, I think that's right. And they had a chance to win it at the end, but they missed two buzzer beaters.
Oh yeah, I think I may have seen that. Yeah. So the people who played fairly well for us, we had a couple people in double figures there. Bradley Beal at 23, Montrez had 14, Denny 13, Rui 14, Kyle Kuzma had 16. And unfortunately, the Nets get to play with Kyrie Irving when they play road games. And so 30 points for him in this game. And LaMarcus Aldridge had 27. And yeah, they just kind of held on to win this. They outshot us and better on the free throws as well, at least percentage-wise. Washington didn't make more free throws. And then, I mean, it's relatively close on some of the other stats. I mean, which is why it was only a 1-point game. But I was impressed with the fight for the Wizards to come back. But it's just like you can't let yourself go down that much so early. I kind of didn't even think they were going to make a game of it. But Champ, what are some of your thoughts on it?
This game should have went to overtime. Okay. You see, it's a 1-point loss. You know why it's a 1-point loss? Because one of the assistant coaches from the Brooklyn Nets hit the ball while it was still in play and led to a turnover. That should have been a bench technical and a technical free throw. That is the difference between this game. Now, yes, Brooklyn outscored the Wiz big, not big, but pretty much big in the second quarter. That's been the Achilles heel of this Wizards team, is either the second or the third quarter, and that's going to be a trend this past week. But You take away that coach involving himself in the game and hitting the ball, causing a turnover, and not getting a technical foul for that. This is a different ball game, in my opinion. And honestly, I think the Wizards may end up winning it in overtime, honestly. But that didn't happen. Unfortunately, we're sitting here talking about a loss, and all they could do with that is find the coach $10K and the team $25K. Great, grand, wonderful. Good job, NBA. Awesome. But this was a very close game. Again, the Wizards know how to play up to these type of opponents. The Nets are one of the best in the East. They played up to them, and they came up short. That's basically the long and short of it.
Yeah. Tim, what are some of your thoughts?
I was pretty happy with the Wizards' effort this game. The defense was really bad in the first half because they let the Nets shoot, I think, over 60% in the first half, but they really tightened it up in the second half. So I like the fourth quarter effort. They played really desperate basketball at the end, and they had a great chance to win. I agree with Champ. I think they should have suspended the coach one game. I mean, that's some Mike Tomlin like BS, and you got to give the guy one game because it kind of sets a precedent. Like, it's $10,000. I mean, for the Nets, that's a great investment for a win. I mean, Kuzma would have had a bucket on that clearly too, because the defender was like running straight in. He was just going to go right around him for a dunk or a layup. So I think that could have been the difference in the game. But there's no point in harping on it. And the Wizards just have to start better. Like Champ said, the second and third quarter just kind of kills them. And they've had a lot of great comebacks this season where they either win or come up really short. But it's just a bad trend. And the other thing with this team, especially with all the coaches out with COVID, they've had a lot of problems figuring out their depth and their rotations. They just have like 2 or 3 extra guys right now. So you can tell with all the guys playing, they don't really gel necessarily. So they have a lot of lineups that are struggling and some are doing well, but the game feels very uneven with these different coaches and tons of players playing. Like for a game this close to play your whole team, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Just for time, we're going to skip ahead to the next game. So we're going to talk about the Raptors game. It started off with the Wizards actually playing really well. They were up 30-20 at the end of the first. But then the Raptors stormed back in the second. They scored 35 to the Wizards' 24 points. Then the Raptors kept on pouring it on in the third, outscored them 36-23. And the Wizards made a really good game of it, outscored them 28-18 in the fourth. And in fact, this game they also, I believe, tied it within 2 minutes left in the game. And then Toronto went on a big run, I believe, at the end of that game to take the lead, if I remember that game correctly. Is that what happened, Champ?
Yeah, see, this is another one here where the second and third quarter just killed this team. They got outscored when you combine the two quarters by 24 points. That is a lot. And when they lose by 4, that you can see the difference here. I believe this was the game where I think KCP had that posterizer dunk where he shit on somebody. I think it was this game. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was this game.
Yeah, I think it was pretty early in the game, and then obviously Toronto took the momentum later. But
yeah, because I remember watching it and then going in the group chat and said, "Did he have to shit on him like that?" That was crazy. But this was another game here where, again, as I said, the second and third quarter was just not it for the Wizards, and then they had a big fourth quarter to make it a respectable game by outscoring them by 10. But by then it was too little, too late, and Van Vliet hitting a tie-breaking 3 with less than a minute to go was a sealer. So again, they got to clean up the play in the second and third quarters. They got to clean that up, and we'll talk about that more in the next game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Tim, any final thoughts on this game before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great Japanese heritage night because they had a feel-good moment in the first quarter where Watanabe on the Raptors played against Hachimura in the game, and they played. They guarded each other a little bit, and they both. I think they both scored in the game, so it was kind of a nice moment for the fans and for TV. There was a lot of Rui and Japanese related content on the broadcast, so that was a cool story. And obviously, the first quarter went great. The game went downhill, but like we talked about, typical Wizards comeback, just to come up short. And Scotty Barnes, I mean, this guy kills the Wizards already in his young career. He's making a case for Rookie of the Year. If you see him play against Washington, you would definitely give him your vote. So I don't know what Washington is not doing right against him, but he looks way too comfortable against the Wizards. So he was just pouring it in. Van Vliet always kills the Wizards. So just another good game for him.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking at some of the final stats, Washington, had a better field goal shooting, and in fact, made more buckets. And so it's just disappointing because obviously it was a very close game overall, and it comes down to just, I guess, making a couple of more free throws and having some more free throw attempts. I mean, if you look at how close these stats really are when you try to break them down, I mean, they both made 11 3-pointers. In fact, Toronto made one less field goal than Washington did overall. And the difference literally is those 6 points that you see on that free throw line. And so it's important, free throws and sometimes little things matter, especially late game scenarios where, fouling and, buckets and stuff like that. So I'm impressed that they were able to keep in it for as long as they did, but ultimately it's still 2 losses in a row. And it kind of sets them up for this ultimate failure here, where this is a really bad game. They got outscored 31-25 in the first. They outscored 29-20 in the second. They got outscored in the third, 31-24, and get outscored in the fourth, 25-18. So they got outscored in all 4 quarters, which is pretty bad. You don't see that very often. And the final score was 116-87. And Jason Tatum just had himself a night, 10 rebounds and 51 points. And there was other double-digit scorers too, but whenever somebody puts up 51 points, you better have somebody that also put up 30 or 40, and we didn't. So, Bradley Beal did pretty well with 19, and there was decent scoring, but 87 points isn't going to cut it, and obviously the defense wasn't good enough to allow 116. I'll start off with Tim. What were some of your thoughts on this game?
I had some good vibes going into this game, guys, because I thought, no way in hell Wizards go 0-3 this week. They started out 2-0 against the Boston Celtics. They played some great defense last game against the Celtics in DC, held them to 10% three-point shooting. So I had great vibes. Wizards have their number. We've got Unseld Jr. back. We've got our coach. We've got Kuz back. With him, we would have won against Toronto. But the Wizards just look terrible. I mean, they said Tatum going into this game had missed 20 straight three-pointers or something stupid like that. And he absolutely demolished the Wizards from the three-point line. He was just laughing. The Celtics also had a ton of fans, so it was kind of bad to see all the green in DC. But I think you just have to throw this game away. I mean, if they come back tomorrow night and have a good performance, we can just kind of forget this one. But I mean, the Celtics couldn't miss. It was just sort of like an embarrassment.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What do you think, champ?
I'm not sugarcoating shit. This game sucked. The Wizards played absolutely terrible. They couldn't guard against the 3. They let Tatum just go off for 51. Drew Gooden was on commentary, was talking about how he saw as disrespect that Tatum was still in the game in the fourth quarter when he had 48 at that point. He thought it was disrespectful, and then he turned around and got to 51 before he finally bowed out with the game pretty much out of reach. This game sucked, and here's a crazy stat for you since Arun is not here. What's up, Arun? The Wizards started this season 10-3. We all were hyped, 10-3. They have lost 20 of their last 24 games. 20 of their last 24 games. They've only won 3 games since the 10-3 start. That is absolutely insane to think about, that this team started off so promising. We thought, oh, this is going to be a world beater team in the East. And right now, they're scratching and clawing just to get one of the spots in play-ins. If the playoffs start today, I don't think they even get into a play-in, which is absolutely crazy to think about. But yeah, this game absolutely sucked. Watching this thing was absolutely painful, and I never want to watch a game like this ever again.
Oh man, we're battling for Brian's team, the Knicks, for that last spot right now. Let's see how the Knicks are doing currently. Oh, they were able to beat the
The Knicks lost tonight, so the Knicks are actually behind the Wizards because they're 2 games under. But yeah, it's like a play-in. We would be the last play-in game right now.
Yeah. Oh wow, Leon Lounge is in chat. He is a Heat fan, and he's excited that they're number 1. If anyone wants to catch a Pokemon, there's one in chat. Let's get back into the week ahead, since there's not a whole lot more to talk about for that. So the Washington Wizards. Why does that refresh weirdly? Okay, there we go. We got the Clippers tomorrow at 7, and then we got the Grizzlies at Saturday at 8. So just 2 games this week. Let's look at the Grizzlies. So it was the Grizzlies, right? Was that the first one? Yeah.
Yeah, Grizzlies, Clippers.
No, Clippers was first, and then Grizzlies. So let's go back to the standings. So the Clippers have been where are they? They're in 9th, so they're in a similar position to where we find ourselves. And then the Grizzlies are actually one of the top teams in the West in 3rd. So taking a look at where they are on the Western Conference. I'll start with you, Champ. What are your thoughts on these upcoming games?
You have one more home game on an 8-game homestand. You have to make this one count, and it's against a Clippers team that's pretty much even with you when you look at the standings. The defensive performance that you showed against Boston cannot be replicated at all. You cannot allow them to go out there and just shoot the lights out in your own gym. And you can't go out there and shoot under 30% from beyond the arc. That just cannot happen. If you're going to go out, if you're going to win on your final game of your 8-game homestand, you have to go out there and absolutely make it a no-doubt victory. So that's the game right there they got to win. Now, the game against the Grizzlies is going to be tough because, 1, they're 3rd in the West. They're one of the top teams in the West. 2, it's on the road, and it's the start of a 3-game road trip. So they got to really start this road trip off right. They're going into enemy territory. They got to go in there and they got to fight. And they tend to play up against teams that are up in the top echelon of conferences. So Coach Unseld needs to get the right combination and right rotations in order to be able to win a game like this on the road after being at home for eight straight games. So I'm predicting 1-1. I think they beat the Clippers at home to end the homestand, but I think they go on the road to Vancouver, and I think they lose. So that's my prediction. I think they go 1-1.
Memphis, though.
Yeah.
You're thinking back in the day, NBA Live, Memphis Grizzlies or Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah, Memphis.
Jesus Christ! Listen, it's been a long day.
It's 11 p.m. man. I miss those Grizzlies teams anyway. They had cool jerseys.
Yeah, they did. So Memphis is good. 8:00 on Saturday. Clippers might not be as good tomorrow at 7. Tim, I kind of see it the same way as Champ, but Tim, what are your thoughts?
I also see 1-1, and here's why. So you look at the Western Conference standings, you see the Clippers 3rd, Grizzlies, it's the Memphis Grizzlies 3, Clippers 10. I was just going to say, you would normally think it would be the opposite because the Clippers have a talented team, and they made the finals of the Western Conference last year, and they're really underachieving. And I like the Wizards in this game because to put up an absolute goose egg. I mean, I think they're going to come out and play a really good game. They have a good coach. He should make them angry, really work them hard in practice. So I think the Wizards will win this first game at home and the homestand on a good note. They really need the win, but Memphis is playing great basketball. They've had a huge winning streak. And if you remember, the Wizards blew them out by like 30 in DC early this year. So I think they're going to want some revenge. The Wizards played an amazing game that night. And I think John Morant is going to remember it and really put it on the Wizards this weekend. So I'm going to say 1-1 too.
So we've only won 3 out of the 7 games in this. Is that correct? Did I do my math correct on that? So I think that's
yeah.
So like they have to win this one because like at least be 500 in it. Like that's otherwise it's like the longest home stretch I've ever seen the Wizards have. And if you go below 500 on it, that's not good. And so I think I definitely agree with you. Although I'm hoping, here's my thought, is they've got a game tomorrow. They can lay it all on the line, right? Because they don't have to play all the way until next Saturday. Like really like empty the tank and really put everything you have into that game and then have some time to recuperate and maybe they could catch a Grizzlies team. I'm curious for them. Yeah, they played the previous night, right, against the Jazz. So maybe you could catch them, trying to, I don't know. It's possible. So they have a much tougher week in the sense they've got a game Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, where maybe we can win on Tuesday and then be well rested for that. So that's what I'm at least hoping for. But I really appreciate you guys coming on and breaking it down with me. Real quickly before I let you go, I do want to get your guys, since you guys do like football, who do you think is going to win the NFC Championship? Who do you think is going to win the AFC Championship? And then I'll let you guys give your final take, and then I'll let you go. So, Tim, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to win the 2 championship games?
I think it's going to be Kansas City against the Rams. And, I'm not set on either team, but I just think they're both at home. Like, I think one of you guys were saying in the last segment, how can you go against Kansas City at home at this point? So that, and the Rams just have so many studs on both sides of the ball. Like it's hard to go against them right now.
Yeah, I'm still so impressed that the 49ers have been able to beat them twice. So if anyone has the tools, it's definitely them. But I kind of see it the way that you do. That's how I think that the finals will be. But I hope that it's 49ers, versus Kansas City. Obviously, neither of us are going to ever root for Cincinnati. So
correct.
I don't blame you there. Champ, what are your thoughts on these championship games?
KC and Cincy is going to be a high-scoring affair. We have 2 very high-powered offenses, but I feel like Joe Burrow and the company, they don't have it as much as KC does. I think Pat Mahomes and them showed it against Buffalo. I saw that ending, and wow, what an ending. So I picked KC to win the AFC Championship game. On the NFC side, I feel like it will be the Rams. And what will be crazy, and I said this in our group chat, is that this will be the 2nd year in a row that the host team plays in the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl this year is in SoFi Stadium, which is the LA Rams home stadium. Last year, Tampa Bay did it. It's possible for the 2nd year in a row. It'll be the Rams that'll be playing in their home stadium for the Lombardi Trophy. So I'm going with a Rams Chiefs Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because for so many years it's never happened in the home stadium, and then potentially that it could happen 2 times in a row. And it's interesting. SoFi Stadium, I was looking it up. It's only since the 70s, it's the only team to have, or only stadium to have 2 teams outside of New Jersey play in the same stadium. So I thought that's kind of interesting that it doubled the chances that it could happen. Because there's 2 teams in LA. When before the only way that could happen is if the game was in New Jersey. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Something else that popped into my head. If KC makes the Super Bowl a 3rd straight time, are they this generation's Buffalo Bills of the early 90s? Thoughts?
Depends on if they win or lose, right? If they lose it, then it's for sure.
Yeah, they won one, so
they're already better, I guess. Yeah. but I could see that. I could see that argument. I mean, I could also, if they win it, then they could be talking about dynasties and Patriots and things like that. So I would say it's closer to Patriots if they win, and it's closer to Bills if they lose, right? So, but it's definitely possible. But I really enjoyed breaking the basketball down with you guys, and hopefully we'll have 2-0 to make up for the 0-3 week that. But we're here every week. I want to make it known that we'll never take a week off, no matter, even if the Wizards don't do as well. But Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Any shout outs you want to do before I let you go?
No, well, shout out to your cat Neville because I saw him peek up there behind you. So
That's awesome.
good for him. But yeah, no, it's a great show. I'm excited for next week. I want to hear the Super Bowl preview and just talk Wizards. So thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks for joining us again. All right, Champ. Let us know what's happening on the Power Play Point podcast while I give you another shout out.
You mean the No Spots podcast?
No Spots podcast. It's been a long day. All right.
It has been a long day. I've been up since 4:30 this morning for some odd reason. But anyway, number one, I don't have any RG3 stuff since Arun's not here, though I'm wondering why this weirdo is on Instagram with reels with him and his wife. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? But anyway, on the No Spots podcast, since we did take a week off because I needed a mental health break, we will be previewing the Royal Rumble, which is this Saturday night. We will also be doing live stream reactions to the Royal Rumble Saturday night on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/TrueNoSpotsPod. We will also be talking about the week that was, including the final build to Royal Rumble, as well as AEW with their special event Beach Break this week and other wrestling news and everything like that. So make sure you check us out. We live stream at 4 p.m. this week. At twitch.tv/TrueNoSpotsPod, and the audio will be up on our audio platforms on Sunday. Make sure you check out the podcasting partners platform on SportsOTHP.com to make sure you can hear the audio of the podcast.
For sure. And I'm still in the process of making an About Us section. It'll have all of Champ's links, and we'll have all Dujanay's links and stuff like that. So at the start of season 7, which I can't believe is just right around the corner in March. I think the last week in March is when season 7 starts, Carol, which is crazy. We'll have a new website up with all of it, with pictures of people in the gear, and it'll be really cool. And I look forward to doing that and breaking down these last couple of football games and basketball games with you, Champ. And we hope that you have a great week. And I look forward to hearing more about wrestling from you later in the week.
Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
Good evening.
All right, Carol. Well, we did it all in about 2 hours. That was pretty good. Had a lot of content. Had some really good playoff talk and some good hockey talk. Unfortunately, the Caps got shut out, but it was a good game. It's one of those games where it was a 1-0 game, but it was still a quality game. We had opportunities. The goalie just stifled us. Some games I want to rant and be like, "What are you doing, Caps? You're playing terrible." But like one squeaked through, Carol. One goal, and that was the difference in this game.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. You were hoping the Caps would get the offense going, but unfortunately, it just didn't go that way tonight. Ran into a hot goalie that was stopping everything in front of them. Like we said, they got some good chances. They didn't have a lot of extended puck possession time in the offensive zone, but when they were on the power play, it did look better. Unfortunately, it didn't result in any goals, but we're seeing improvement. But I just saw that New York won in overtime, so they got 2 points tonight, and Capitals didn't. And the start of the day, I believe they were in 5th place in the conference and 3rd place in the division. So other teams are waking up. Pittsburgh has came up. The Rangers are top now. So yeah, the Caps need to start getting it together because you don't want to get too far behind in this tough Metro division. You want to be fighting for a playoff spot late. You want to get back in the position they were in the top 3, so they got that position secured. They don't have to worry about making that playoff push late in the season.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting week next week. I mean, we have some big games that we'll break down for the Caps. Big, 2 games for the Wizards, and obviously those 2 championship games. So I'm excited for episode 258. There should be a lot of fun stuff to talk about next week, and It was disappointing the Caps game went this way, but I still, people want to be so negative on Facebook, and I caution people. I'm like, let's try to get 3 games in a row with the same team. Like, it was nice to see John Carlson and Orlov back. Like, let's have them have a couple of games together. Let's, get the offense together for a couple of games. And I mean, still, even today, I was looking at the lineups. It's still so mashed up. It still doesn't feel like the Capitals it could be. I mean, we're still missing, pieces. I mean, TJ Oshie is still missing Mantha, and hopefully we get some of those guys back and play a couple of games in a row with them and see what we can do. I think our goaltending is okay. I don't know if it's championship winning goaltending, but we were having the same doubts in 2018 as well. Like at that time, we wanted to trade Holtby, fire Trotz, right? So we didn't, but people did. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes, but we'll save that for next week. It's been a long night, but Carol, thank you for helping me break down all the football, the hockey, and thanks to the basketball team for helping me break all that stuff down too. It's been a fun night, and I really appreciate the raid tonight. That was really cool. We got a lot of people. We still have 10 people watching us. We got one last Pokemon that people can catch in chat, and then I'm gonna actually raid after you give your sign off.
All right. As always, appreciate y'all. Excuse me. As always, appreciate you guys checking us out. All the new viewers on Riley's Twitch channel, appreciate y'all. As always, we love you guys to tune in. We love doing this, bringing you the best DC sports coverage around. No politics, no clickbait, no anonymous sources. You know, always go check out all of our content on our website, as Riley was just talking about, sportsothp.com. You go to my YouTube channel, subscribe some of the highlight videos and stuff that I do for the Caps, for the Washington football team, and then the Nationals when they start playing. You can go follow that channel, Carol Porter III with 3 eyes, not the number 3. Also, if you're in the market for a new used vehicle, I sell cars down at Waldorf Honda. So feel free to hit me up, inbox me. You see the information on the screen on my feed with all my information. Hit me up, feel free to, because I love to earn the business on the vehicle. So check out the website for the apparel. Help support the movement. We appreciate it all. And as always, I'm in my feed with some independent music videos. Renegade, 703. Go check him out. Go follow him on Instagram. Listen to his music on all streaming platforms available. And see you next week. Appreciate you all for tuning in. DC Sports Without the Politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. CP3, live for a lad, and I'm out.
Recording stopped.